Hey guys, tonight we dive into something a little rebellious. You're standing in front of a pile of English textbooks, a flashcards spilling across the floor like confetti after a party no one enjoyed. The light overhead flickers once. You sigh, because deep down, you know, this just isn't working anymore. Now imagine this. You're in a crowded street market in Bangkok or Cairo or Bogota inverted exclamation mark. Someone shouts something in English, and your ears prick up, and not because you memorized it from a grammar book, but because you felt it. You got the gist from the tone, the vibe, the moment. That's where we're going tonight. You're about to unlearn the old rules and uncover why memorizing English might be the slowest, driest, most soul-sucking way to actually learn it. You probably won't survive a broken bar if your idea of learning means color-coding verb tenses until your brain melts. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and let me know where you're listening from. Drop your city and your local time in the comments below. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You toss the flashcards aside. They flutter down like leaves of lost effort, because tonight, we're going to rewire how you think about English. Instead of burning time memorizing the word awkward, you're going to feel it. That moment at a dinner table when no one talks, that silence after you say something weird, that is awkward. No flashcard needed. Here's the truth you weren't told: your brain learns best through context, emotion, and survival, not repetition. Think about history's best language learners: soldiers, refugees, travelers, lovers. Do you think they paused mid-conversation to recite conjugation charts? Nah, they had to get the meaning fast, or they missed the bus, or the date, or the deal. Historians still argue whether early humans communicated first through mimicking sounds or through expressive gestures. But either way, it wasn't with notebooks and colored highlighters. It was messy. It was instinctive. It was human. And so are you. So let's ditch the perfection obsession. You're allowed to forget a word. You're allowed to mix up borrow and lend. You're even allowed to say he go to school and still get your point across. Because guess what? Language is a bridge, not a beauty contest. Now here's a quirky truth. The guy who spoke the most fluent English in your high school probably played online games every night and never studied once, and maybe he swore a lot. But his input was raw, real, and constant. That's the kind of chaos your brain loves. Mainstream research has finally started to admit high-to-rote memorization doesn't stick long-term unless it's emotionally charged. You don't forget your first kiss. You do forget the seventh irregular verb in past perfect continuous. So, what's your mission this week? Pick one episode of your favorite show. Turn off subtitles. Just listen. Let your brain do what it's designed to do. Notice patterns. Remember tones, fill in gaps. You're not a robot. You're a human, and humans are the world's best pattern detectors. You've been learning how to speak since you were 2, and no one gave you a vocabulary list back then. So if you feel overwhelmed, that's fine. Lean into it. Float in the soup of the language. Let the noise wrap around you. Let yourself not know everything. Learning fast isn't about knowing more, it's about letting go of needing to know right now. You don't memorize how to ride a bike. You wobble, you fall, you ride. Same with English. Flashcards, optional. Feeling the language, mandatory. You start hearing English like musical, where rhythm and emotion trump perfect spelling every time. There's this moment, maybe in the shower or walking alone, when someone says something in English in a movie and it clicks. Not because you memorized it, but because you felt the beat of it. That rhythm, that flow. It's not textbook English, it's musical. And somehow, your brain lights up like a sleepy Christmas tree finally plugged in. See? Most learners try to study English like a puzzle, piece by rigid piece. But English, it's a song. And you're not supposed to dissect a song note by note. You're supposed to vibe with it. The way native speakers say "what are you doing?" isn't about grammar, it's about speed, tone, intention. That slurred doing isn't laziness, it's rhythm. And your ears can feel it faster than your brain can translate it. That's why tonight, you stop obsessing over spelling and start listening. Historical fact here: The BBC began broadcasting radio English lessons as far back as 1924, but they didn't focus on vocabulary lists. They focused on conversation, on sound. Even back then, they realized people learned better when they heard English used naturally. Here's the weird part. You can learn without even you understanding. Yup, that's what babies do. For months, they just listen, and their brains soak it up like a sponge that doesn't even know what soak means. Historians still argue whether language first emerged as musical chanting or practical communication, but there's a growing belief that early speech sounded more like a melody than a sentence. That's probably why we find catchy phrases easier to remember than boring ones. Take the phrase "gimme a seconds." It's short, punchy, melodic. No teacher taught it to you, but you heard it in 1,000 movies. Now it's stuck in your brain like gum on a shoe. You don't remember because you studied it, it's stuck because it had flavor. So tonight, you lean into sound. Try this. Repeat what you hear in your favorite song or show, and not word for word, but sound for sound. Let the syllables melt into each other. Let yourself mess it up. Whisper it. Mumble it. Match the pitch. Get weird. You're not learning English like a scholar. You're absorbing it like a local. And here's a quirky tip. Listen to English backwards. Seriously. Play a sentence in reverse and try to mimic the tone. Your brain will start to hear patterns without needing meaning. It's freaky, but effective. Spelling? That can wait. Because here's the brutal truth. Native speakers also suck at spelling. Ever heard of the I before E except after C disaster? Even English teachers mess that up. So give yourself a break. Focus on sound. This week, do this. Choose one native podcast, like one about cooking or mysteries or celebrity drama. Put it on while you do something else. Don't try to understand every word. Just let your brain float in it. Because when you start hearing English as music, not math, you unlock fluency faster. You stop asking, "Is this correct?" and start asking, "Does this sound right?" Spoiler. Sounding right beats being perfect. You blurt out half sentences and still get understood. Why messy grammar beats silence in real life. You're in a coffee shop abroad. You want a cappuccino with oat milk, no sugar. But your brain, total fog. You panic. You can't remember if it's "I want," or "I would like," or "could I get." So instead, you go, "1 cappuccino. Oat milk. No sugar, please." And guess what? You get the drink. Congratulations. You just spoke English badly, beautifully, and successfully. This, my friend, is what we're embracing tonight. Messy communication that still works. Because fluency isn't polished, it's functional. Think about this. Babies don't wait until they can say perfect sentences. They scream, point, mumble, and somehow rule the household. Adults, we hold our tongues until we can say, "Excuse me, I believe there's been a misunderstanding." Ridiculous. Historians still argue whether grammar rules came from actual speech patterns or whether scholars just made up proper English to feel smart. Some even believe modern English grammar is rooted more in class distinction than communication. And when you look at native speakers, they're breaking grammar rules left and right. "Ain't nobody got time for that" is technically a mess, and yet, you feel it. It's powerful. It's real. It's English in the wild. Here's a historical tidbit for you. Shakespeare invented over 1,700 words. He mashed nouns into verbs, verbs into adjectives, and broke every rule that existed. If grammar police had been around, he would have been arrested a broken bar, and yet, he shaped modern English. So tonight, you stop waiting to be perfect. You speak. You fumble. You get better not by knowing the rule, but by using the language. Think about texting. You've probably sent, "Meet 6 p.m. You bring food." No full sentence, but it works. Why? Because context fills in the gaps. You don't need grammar, you need intention. So go ahead. Say, "He go work yesterday." Is it wrong? Yeah. Will you be understood? Absolutely. And next time, maybe you'll say, "He went to work yesterday," but only because your brain heard it enough times, not because you memorized it off a worksheet. Here's something quirky. A study showed that most second language speakers get better grammar by listening to sitcoms than attending grammar classes. Why? Because sitcoms show you what sounds right. You learn that no one actually says, "Whom did you invite?" unless they're in a Jane Austen novel. So this week, practice this game. Talk to yourself in broken English. Seriously, walk around the house describing what you're doing. I make lunch. I cut tomato. I eat now. It sounds dumb. It works wonders, because your goal isn't to impress, it's to express. So let grammar be your co-pilot, not your boss. Fluency means you make the sentence your why and tweak it as you go. Like jazz, a little offbeat, but full of soul. Messy grammar greater than no English at all. Remember that. You secretly steal language hacks from toddlers and find out what they're doing better than you. You wake up and see a 3-year-old pointing at a cat. Kitty. They yell. Later, they fall off a chair. Oy. They cry. Then they demand snacks. No full sentence. Just more, and they get it. Now pause. That toddler just used English more effectively than most adults learning it. They didn't overthink it. They didn't conjugate verbs. They didn't memorize prepositions. They just communicated. Tonight, you're going to copy them, because when it comes to learning languages, babies are absolute geniuses, not because they're smarter, but because they're fearless and wired for sound. The average toddler learns 7 new words a day. And how? Repetition, emotion, environment. They hear words in context. They associate language with real life, not abstract lists. Now here's a mainstream historical fact. In the 1960s, Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget proved that kids don't learn by sitting still, they learn by interacting, tasting, touching, messing up, trying again. We forget that method as adults. We sit, we stress, we memorize. But toddlers, they play their way to fluency. And here's a fringe tidbit. Some researchers argue that baby talk, those sing-songy tones and exaggerated sounds, actually accelerates brain development. It's not silly, it's strategic. It turns language into music, and music, as you now know, sticks. Historians still argue whether language development is driven more by biology or environment. But everyone agrees, the earlier you're immersed, the faster you absorb. So what's the lesson? You imitate kids. You make mistakes and laugh. You repeat things until they're stuck. You ask the same question 5 times. You say what you can, not what you should. A toddler doesn't say, "Pardon me, may I please have a glass of water?" They say, "Water," and they get water. Eventually, they learn please. But only after water became meaningful. That's your path too. So try this. Pick 10 super basic words, I mean toddler level. Eat, sleep, go, happy. Use them all day. In real life, whisper them, shout them, say them like you're 2. It'll feel dumb, and then it'll feel easy. Because babies don't start fluent, they start loud and shameless. So stop being polite, stop being shy, start being a toddler with a Wi-Fi connection. Here's a fun challenge. Record yourself saying basic things around the house. I sit, I eat, I Washington. Listen back at night. You'll cringe. Then you'll improve. Language learning isn't just input, it's play, it's curiosity, it's the freedom to fail 1,000 times and still keep going. So tonight, you ditch the grown-up pressure, you embrace the baby brain. You learn like you once did, naturally, joyfully, noisily. You realize memorizing verbs is like eating dry toast, so you switch to a juicier, tastier method. You sit down, determined to study English. You open your book and there it is, a long, lifeless list of irregular verbs. Go, a, went, a, gone, take, a, took, a, taken, eat, a, ate, a, eaten. You read them once, then again, then your eyes glaze over. By the 3rd column, your brain has checked out and is scrolling cat videos in another universe. And that's because your brain hates boring stuff. Like, biologically, it craves novelty, story, context. It wants something to feel. Dry lists, not a chance. No amount of motivation can make rote memorization exciting. It's like chewing cardboard, technically food, but your soul knows better. Now here's a historical tidbit. The ancient Greeks didn't teach language by memorization. They used drama, real plays, actors in masks, emotions, shouting, action. You learned the word for run while actually running on stage. No lists, just life. Here's something quirky. Modern neuroscience confirms it. When you feel something, a fear, surprise, Lottery. Your brain releases dopamine. That dopamine helps glue the memory in place. So the best way to remember a word? Connect it to a feeling. Historians still argue whether emotion plays a primary or secondary role in memory formation, but growing evidence suggests it's emotion that prioritizes which memories your brain saves first. So let's bring the juice back to learning. Don't memorize eaten. Instead, recall that hilarious dinner where someone dropped spaghetti on your lap and screamed, "I ate too much." Boom. That word is yours forever. The trick is emotional hooks. Instead of writing out verb lists, try this. Watch a sitcom scene where someone takes something. Say the line out loud. Mimic the emotion. Rewind. Do it again. Laugh. Cringe. Repeat. Or go even weirder. Make the word part of your life. Want to learn the word run? Don't write it 10 times. Go outside. Run. Whisper, "I run a broken bar. I ran a broken bar. I have run a broken bar." As your lungs collapse. Suddenly, the verb sticks and your legs hurt. That's a win-win. Want to learn sleep? A slept? Record a short, dramatic soap opera. I sleep now. A broken bar. I slept yesterday. I a broken bar. I have not slept in 3 days and I'm losing my mind. Now that's memorable. You don't need perfect grammar. You need vividness, flavor, life. Try this game tomorrow. Make a verb of the day challenge. Just one. Your mission is to use it 10 times in different situations. Funny, sad, angry. It doesn't matter. Make it stick with feeling, because memorization doesn't work when it's dry, but it works beautifully when it's personal. So from now on, let your verbs be messy, loud, dramatic, ridiculous, because that's the only way your brain's going to remember them. Dry toast is for robots. You deserve cake. You flood your brain with juicy English content. TV, podcasts, drama, and feel fluency sneak in quietly. Picture this: you're lying on your bed, earbuds in, not studying, just vibing. An English podcast is playing. Maybe it's true crime, or a celebrity interview, or 2 friends arguing over pineapple on pizza. You're not catching every word, but somehow, your brain's tuning in. Then days later, someone says, "I mean, come on," and you realize you know exactly what it means. Tone and all. Welcome to Input Media, the secret door to fluency. This is how babies learn. It's also how you learned your first language. Long before you could talk, you listened non-stop to your parents, the TV, the dog barking. Your brain was quietly connecting dots, building meaning out of noise. That's how you're going to learn English now, by immersing. No pressure, no translating, just letting it in. Mainstream fact for the night: a study at the University of Illinois showed that learners who spent more time listening to authentic English content, TV shows, YouTube, audiobooks, made faster speaking gains than those stuck in classrooms. And the fringe twist? Some polyglots of people who speak 10+ languages claim their secret is watching trashy TV. Not documentaries, not the news, just juicy, dramatic, over-the-top shows with real human emotion. Historians still argue whether passive input alone is enough for full fluency, or whether it must be paired with output. But what's clear is this: massive input rewires your brain. You start picking up patterns. You stop translating. You hear the music of the language. Grammar becomes instinct. Vocabulary grows like mold in a forgotten coffee cup. Quiet, but unstoppable. And here's a secret: even if you don't understand every word you're learning, your subconscious is clocking pronunciation, rhythm, context, like muscle memory, but for your ears. So tonight, you stop trying to study English and you start living with it. Set your phone to English. Change your Netflix language settings. Follow English-speaking creators. Listen to English when you cook, clean, scroll. Let your brain soak. Drown in it. Here's a fun challenge. Pick a show in English with subtitles in your language. Watch 1 episode, then rewatch it, but this time, no subtitles. Just let the sound hit you. Your brain will surprise you. It's working even when you're not. Another trick: watch things you already love but in English. If you've seen Harry Potter 10 times in your language, Watch it in English now. You know the story, let the language ride along. This is what I call lazy fluency. You don't grind, you chill, you bathe your brain in real language. Because fluency doesn't arrive like a marching band, it sneaks in like mist. One day, someone says something random and your brain goes, "The broken bar, I understood that." You didn't memorize it, you absorbed it. You start whispering to plants and bathroom mirrors, so because talking alone works weird wonders. It's 7 a.m., you're brushing your teeth, you stare into the mirror with foamy determination and say, "Today I a broken bar, I speak English." You sound ridiculous. Your cat gives you a judgmental look. The plant in the corner pretends not to notice, and yet something's shifting. Because tonight, you unlock one of the weirdest, most effective fluency tricks ever, talking to yourself. Yup, out loud, in English, to no one. It feels silly at first. You stumble, you pause, you repeat. But guess what? That's the point. You're building muscle memory, not just in your mouth, but in your brain. And when no one's watching, you're free to mess up gloriously. Here's the historical anchor. Demosthenes, the great ancient Greek orator, practiced his speeches alone with rocks in his mouth to improve clarity and rhythm. He wasn't waiting for an audience. He trained by himself, like a man possessed a broken bar or someone preparing for a TED Talk in 300 BC. Modern language learners can do the same, minus the rocks. Here's the quirky twist. Some polyglots swear by narrating their day aloud. One guy even pretended he was hosting a cooking show while making eggs. "Now I take the egg, a broken bar, gently a broken bar I crack, Ida, oh no, it fell on the floor." Boom. A real language, real life, real fun. Historians still argue whether inner speech is enough to shape fluency, or whether external, vocal output speeds things up dramatically. But brain imaging studies lean toward this. Saying things out loud activates more neural pathways than silent reading ever could. So tonight, you don't wait for the perfect conversation partner, you become one. Talk to your toothbrush. Describe what you're doing in the kitchen. Narrate your outfit choices like a red carpet commentator. "Today we are wearing socks, a broken bar that almost match a broken bar." You're not crazy, you're training. Want a challenge? Every time you walk into a new room, say one sentence aloud in English. "It's cold in here. I need to clean this mess. Why do I have 7 coffee mugs on my desk?" The point isn't perfection, it's activation. You're training your brain to retrieve words in real time, and the more you do it, the faster it gets. Think of it like going to the gym. The first rep, awkward. The second rep, still awkward. By the 100th, your muscles remember. So does your mouth. And guess what? You can't passively train your speaking skills. Watching Netflix is great input, but fluency needs output. You've got to talk even if it's just to your ceiling fan. You might even start enjoying it. That moment when you say something clearly, smoothly, without thinking, it feels good. It feels real. It feels like you're getting there. So tonight, give your voice permission. Talk to your wall. Talk to your pasta. Talk to your dog. Whisper, mumble, act out full scenes if you want. Because the most powerful language lab is already in your home. Yeah, it's your mouth. You start craving embarrassing moments because they tattoo the right English into your brain. There you are, confidently walking into a coffee shop. You smile at the barista and say, "I would like a large chicken, please." They blink. You blink. Silence. Then you both burst out laughing. "You meant chicken?" "No, number." "You meant latte, a large latte." Welcome to the beautiful, painful, and unforgettable world of learning by embarrassment. Tonight, we're talking about why your worst English moments are your best teachers. You remember them forever. That time you said "I'm boring" instead of "I'm bored." That time you told someone "I'm hard" when you meant life is hard. Yikes. But here's the twist. Those moments aren't setbacks, they're superglue for language. Your brain thrives on mistakes that matter. The more awkward, emotional, or funny the experience, the stronger the memory. It's like burning it into your neurons with a tiny cringe iron. Here's a historical gem. In 1929, psychologist Edward Thorndike coined the law of effect, which says behaviors followed by strong emotional reactions are more likely to stick. In other words, a mess up, feel something, Learn faster. Historians still argue whether making mistakes is necessary for fluency, or just part of the messy journey. But either way, mistake-based learning works, especially when it's tied to real experiences. Want a fringe fact? Some teachers now use deliberate embarrassment drills where students intentionally make ridiculous mistakes to reduce their fear of looking foolish. It's like therapy with subtitles. So if you've been playing it safe waiting until your sentence is perfect before speaking, you're actually slowing yourself down. Because every perfect sentence you never say is a missed opportunity, and every imperfect, awkward sentence, a golden memory your brain won't let go of. Here's what to do this week. Embrace at least one oops moment. Walk into a conversation knowing you mess up, laugh when it happens, then immediately repeat the corrected phrase out loud and lock it in. Got embarrassed in a store? Go home. Recreate the sentence, say it 10 times. Now it's yours. Embarrassment means you cared enough to try. It means you stepped out of hiding. That's heroic. It's also effective. Try this game. Once a day, say something you know isn't 100% right. Just throw it out. See how people respond. Most won't even notice. Some will gently correct you. And you'll remember that moment forever. Because fluency isn't built on perfection, it's built on recovery. The more you recover, the stronger you get. So tonight, wear your awkward moments like badges of honor. That latte chicken mix-up, that's now your origin story. You'll never confuse the words again. In fact, you might even smile the next time you mess up, because your brain just got smarter. You notice real English sounds nothing like your textbooks and start decoding the lazy blur. You're on a bus, the two people behind you are chatting away in English. At least, you think it's English. It sounds more like, Wajato, Nothin', Juhengjan. Wanna grab some later? You blink. You know those words, but strung together like that, they sound a broken bar like verbal soup. Congratulations, you've just encountered lazy English, the version real people actually speak, and tonight, you learn to decode the blur. Because textbook English, it's the clean-shaven, perfectly dressed version. Real-life English, it just rolled out of bed in sweatpants and is already late for work. Here's a mainstream fact. Linguists call this connected speech when native speakers blend, shrink, or even delete sounds in normal conversation. Did you eat yet? Becomes jeet yet. Going to becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. It's not wrong, it's just natural. Historically, even Shakespeare did it. His plays are full of contractions and reductions because even in the 1600s, people spoke quickly and slurred when excited. Fluency has always included shortcuts, and here's a quirky twist. Some researchers found that babies understand reduced, casual English faster than adults because their brains haven't been trained to expect the perfect version yet. Historians still argue whether formal or informal speech should be the starting point in language classes. But if your goal is real conversation, you've got to train your ears for the blur. So here's the plan. Stop aiming for slow speech. If your goal is to understand native speakers, you've got to listen at native speed. Even if it sounds like gibberish at first. Think of it like listening to a new song. It's confusing at first, but catchy by the third time. Use transcripts but only after. Watch a video once without subtitles. Just listen, then read the transcript to catch what you missed. Your brain will connect the dots much better. Shadow the blur. Repeat after native speakers exactly how they say it. Not clearly, not slowly, slurred, lazy, connected. That's the gold. Try this line. What you gonna do about it? Say it out loud. Again, faster. Now whisper it while walking down the hallway like you're in a spy movie. Feels weird. Feels awesome. You're learning the rhythm, not just the words. Want a fun challenge? Watch 10 minutes of any English reality show. Write down every shortened phrase you hear, then try to say them out loud as fast as they did. You mess up, but your ear will get sharper, your tongue will loosen, and soon, what once sounded like mumbling will start to sound like meaning. Because English isn't always about what's it's about how it's said. So stop expecting perfect pronunciation from natives. Embrace the blur. Train for that. Because when you can hear a "did you eat?" and know they just said "jeet?" that's fluency, my friend. You spot English hidden in shampoo bottles, logos, and Netflix mean use it and use it like flashcards never existed. You walk into the bathroom, half awake, you grab your shampoo, and then a broken bar, boom, there it is. Hydrating blend with avocado oil. Wait, what's blend? You've seen it before, but now it sticks. Why? Because it's not a flashcard, it's real. Welcome to environmental learning, where everyday objects become your personal English teachers. Tonight, you're going to turn your life into a language lab. No books, no drills, no grammar charts, just a broken bar, everything around you, and it works. Mainstream fact: scientists call this incidental learning. When you absorb knowledge without trying it, just by exposure, like when you suddenly realize you know the lyrics to a song you never meant to learn. Want a historical example? Immigrants arriving at Ellis Island in the early 1900s often didn't go to school. They learned English from shop signs, subway posters, and shouting neighbors. It wasn't elegant, but it was effective. Total immersion in daily chaos. Historians still argue whether structured learning is better than incidental exposure, but most agree, the brain remembers better when it sees things in the wild. So here's what you do tonight and tomorrow and maybe forever. Change your phone to English right now. Don't worry, you already know where the settings icon is. Trust your fingers. Then a broken bar, start noticing. Your cereal box, English. Your shampoo label, English. The skip intro button on Netflix, oh yeah, that's English too. These things are always there, but now, they become your vocabulary builder. Not just words, but phrases in action. Here's a quirky tip. Stick post-it notes on your stuff. Label everything like you're preparing for an English-speaking yard sale. Fridge equals cold storage, door equals entryway, trash can equals garbage bin. Bonus: you'll sound weirdly professional when you talk. I disposed of it in the garbage receptacle. Okay, maybe don't go that far, but you get the idea. Another trick: when you're watching Netflix, pause and repeat what the characters just said. Not the dramatic parts of those small, throwaway lines. You okay? Let's get out of here. Seriously, say them out loud. Let them live in your voice. Now they're yours. Here's a challenge. Write down 3 new English words you see every day. Not words you study, words you encounter. Write what they mean, how they're used, maybe even make up a sentence. Example, word, moisturizing wear. Face cream label, guess, something that makes skin soft. Sentence, this weather is drying me out, I need something moisturizing. That's a real word, in a real place, with real context. That's how memory sticks. So tonight, you stop chasing vocabulary lists. You start letting English come to you, because it's all right